Open your pantry right now and look at the crinkly bag of salty, crispy potato chips. You probably think this greasy, addictive masterpiece was the product of a culinary think tank, a team of elite food scientists calculating the exact level of crunch and salt to hijack your brain's pleasure centers. But it wasn't. The chip was born from a chef's boiling rage and a customer who was being a total, unmitigated jerk. If you want to support our deep dives into historical pettiness, hit the like button right now, or we'll tell your doctor how many bags of chips you actually eat in a single sitting. Now, we love to pretend that human progress is a series of intellectual triumphs. We imagine Einstein or Edison staring at the ceiling, having glorious, pristine brainstorms. But the truth is much sillier. Humanity is clumsy, lazy, and incredibly lucky. We don't innovate through genius. We innovate by accident, spite, or sheer laziness. Almost every comfort in your modern house exists because someone made a colossal blunder or was in a terrible mood. And there is no greater example of spite-driven food engineering than the birth of the potato chip. To see how it happened, we have to travel back to the summer of 1853 in the high society resort town of Saratoga Springs, New York. Saratoga Springs was the playground for the ultra-wealthy. This was where the elite of 19th century America, Vanderbilts, politicians, and high-maintenance aristocrats gathered to show off their wealth and sip mineral water. The hottest spot in town was Carrie Moon's Lake House, a luxury resort famous for its upscale dining. The guests there expected absolute perfection and weren't shy about making the staff suffer for it. Running the kitchen at the lake house was Chef George Crum. George was a fascinating, larger-than-life figure and had spent his earlier years working as a mountain guide and a fur trapper. He didn't have a fancy culinary degree. He had survival instincts and a natural genius for flavor. He was also fiercely proud, independent, and famously hot-tempered. Crum was not a chef you wanted to mess with. If a customer complained about his cooking, George's typical response wasn't to apologize. It was to send out something even more bizarre, or simply throw the customer out. He knew he was the best cook in the region, and he demanded respect. But on one fateful evening in August 1853, a wealthy customer walked in who was determined to test Crum's patience to the absolute breaking point. The customer, who some historical rumors claim was the railroad tycoon Cornelius Vanderbilt himself, ordered a plate of French fried potatoes. At the time, French fries were thick-cut, soggy, and eaten with a fork. It was a standard high society side dish. The waiter brought the plate out. The customer took one look, poked a fry with his fork, and sneered. He sent them back, complaining they were way too thick and soggy. George Crum swallows his pride and slices a new batch of potatoes. He cuts them a bit thinner, fries them up, and sends them out. The customer takes a bite and sends them back again. The complaint? Still too thick, and they weren't salty enough. The kitchen goes quiet. Crum's blood is boiling. He is a former wilderness trapper, being criticized by a guy who probably needs help putting on his own shoes. The petty standoff begins. Crum decides he is done being polite. He isn't trying to fix the meal anymore. He is trying to ruin it. He wants to make something so completely inedible, so ridiculously awful, that it will insult the customer's entire existence and force him to leave. He grabs a potato, pulls out his sharpest knife, and begins to slice, but he doesn't cut them thin. He slices them paper thin, like transparent wood shavings. Crum's plan was simple. Create a potato dish so thin and brittle that it would be physically impossible to pick up with a fork. He throws these paper-thin potato shavings into a vat of boiling oil. He watches them curl up, shrivel, and turn into hard, crunchy discs. He pulls them out, and to double down on the spite, he grabs a handful of salt and dumps it all over them, making them look like a sodium hazard. He piles these crunchy, salty potato scabs onto a plate. He instructs the waiter to take them to the dining room. Crum stands by the kitchen door, smirking, waiting for the explosion. He expects the customer to take one look at this salty garbage, scream for the manager, and storm out in a wealthy huff. It was supposed to be the ultimate culinary insult, a chef's masterpiece of passive-aggressive revenge. The waiter sets the plate down. The customer looks at the bizarre, crispy golden discs. He tries to stab one with his fork. It instantly shatters into tiny pieces. Crum's trap is working. The customer, defeated by the fork, reaches down and picks up a slice with his fingers. He pops it into his mouth. The room goes silent as he chews. Crum watches. The customer's eyes widen. He reaches for another, and another. Instead of being outraged, the customer is absolutely ecstatic. He declares them the greatest thing he's ever tasted. Soon, other guests are demanding to try the weird crispy potatoes. Crum's spite creation becomes the sensation of Saratoga Springs. Moon's Lake House puts them on the menu permanently as Saratoga chips. People travel from all over the country just to eat paper-thin potatoes made out of pure chef rage. George Crum eventually opened his own restaurant, placing a basket of these chips on every single table. He became wealthy and famous, all because he tried to ruin a guy's dinner. But Crum never patented his invention. He thought it was just a local novelty. Soon, others copied the recipe, started packaging them in bags, and the global potato chip empire was born, turning a kitchen prank into a multi-billion-dollar industry. So, to recap, a snobby aristocrat complained about soggy fries, which drove a hot-tempered former fur trapper chef to slice potatoes paper-thin and deep-fry them into salty shingles as an insult, only for the customer to love them, creating Saratoga chips and sparking a global snack empire. Today, we honor George Crum's legendary kitchen warfare and Vanderbilt's high society fussiness by lying on our couches in sweatpants, covered in orange dust, aggressively shoving handfuls of sour cream and onion chips into our mouths while watching television reruns at 2 in the morning. We took a masterpiece of chef spite and turned it into the official mascot of lazy Sunday afternoons. Next time you open a bag of chips that is 80% air, remember that you are eating the delicious product of pure historical pettiness. Hit that subscribe button to join our Museum of Happy Accidents and let us know in the comments if you would have eaten Crum's spite chips. Until next time, keep making beautiful mistakes.